Ryan Mee, the CEO of Fulcrum Metals. Following news this week that the company raised over £1 million in a placing, with Metals One taking a significant chunk of that, and an additional £245,000 with sophisticated value-add mining industry, high net worth and institutional investors. So a total raised this week of 1.29 million. Well, Ryan, thank you for joining us. How are you?
No, very well, Mark, and it's good to see you again. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a couple of months, I think. So over the course of the last 7 days, you've managed to raise, well, a significant chunk of money. So just tell us what it means for the company then, and also particularly, who are these new investors?
Yeah, sure. I mean, firstly, this is a statement oversubscribed fundraise for Fulcrum. And as you say, we've attracted new types of investors, high net worth institutions and value add sophisticated industry investors. And that's not just in the UK, but also in Canada. So this is a real step change to previous fundraisers. It really cements that share register that we have. And as you mentioned, Metals One are now a significant shareholder in Fulcrum. And, we're absolutely delighted that we have this buy-in to this focus strategy of Fulcrum in reprocessing tailings in Canada.
Okay. Can you say any more about the investors or maybe the value add that they bring, if that's worthy of note in the RNS there?
Sure. So, these are professionals in the industry.
Okay.
They're very well connected to large mining groups. And you know what? The other takeaway to this is, these are investors who do not typically invest in AIM-listed companies or microcap companies. So, they see the scalable potential of what Fulcrum are doing and the real benefits that using cyanide-free technology and unlocking these tailing sites can bring. So it's really exciting for us.
So you're getting some sticky shareholders on the book, I imagine, as well. Metals One are not the kind of people to flip.
No, well, Metals One, it's more than an investment. It's a collaboration. We'll review and collaborate with Metals One on our assets and their jurisdictional reach. And work with Extract on the application of, what this is really a breakthrough technology, to reprocess tailings, but also the application in other mine settings too.
Okay, good. And as part of that RNS, I noticed you talked about the debt restructure as well with the CLNs there. So is there any reason behind this? You're trying to clean a few things up?
Yeah, absolutely. This is, a pivotal moment for Fulcrum. The funding allows us to move ahead with the restructuring of the CLN, and that is part payment and part conversion, which is the next step of that and clearing the balance sheet. And what's really important is that, we've got the Tully Gold Project, which we're working on the disposal with Loyalist on that. And through this financing and those slated disposals, we're funded for this restructure of the debt to remove it from the balance sheet, but also significant and material developments at Teck-Hughes, moving it towards the point of construction. So we're at a very key point in Fulcrum's, positioning in being a key player in reprocessing tailings. So it's a very exciting time for us.
Okay. And is the debt restructuring, is that part of something to perhaps clean the structure if people are looking at the company? I don't know, I'm just sort of speculating now, but did it have to be done? Was it just prudent?
It's both, Mark. Obviously, a debt is, it's a liability. So we're going to remove that. It obviously makes us a much cleaner, leaner vehicle for other investors to come in and invest in the company. So it works from all aspects, and it kind of fits in with a few other things that we're looking at too.
Okay, good. Well, this brings us up to speed a little bit on what we can expect to see now from Fulcrum. So as I remember, of course, it's the gold tailings, and I think it was just under $300,000 estimated in gold. I think I've got that number about right across the two projects there in the tailings, but you've got about 700 million in other metals contained. But of course, you've got that big master licensing agreement now agreed. So what happens now then to advance this project through to production?
Yeah, look, we've got this master license agreement with Extract. covers Timmins and Kirkland Lake, two of Canada's most prolific gold camps. We have two of those sites in Kirkland Lake, Teck-Hughes and Sylvanite. It's estimated around 200,000 ounces of gold, which is in the region of 700 million US dollars worth of gold. There's other critical minerals in there that we've identified, gallium and tellurium, which will be part of our next phase of works to understand how much of that is in the tailings and what that means in terms of the overall picture. But what we are funded for is a lot of material work. We've got a significant auger drilling campaign to come up and prove up the gold. It's at surface. It's going to be processing. It's not buried. It's not stuck under a tailings pond. And we've also got the important phase 3 test work, and that is to scale up the extract technology and optimize leach and recovery rates, leach times. This all increases the outputs. But also another important part is we've only focused on the leaching aspect. There is the dewatering and filtration side, which extract have another area of application for the technology. And that really vectors into delivering a lower cost process, through recycling reagents, water, and additional recoveries. So, we've got a really exciting period of development as we move from the high-level concept. And let's not forget the high-level concept of just Teck-Hughes, which is one of these two sites. An MPV, US 33 million. Now, that's a gold of, 2,899 ounces, dollars per ounce. We're over 3,300 mark. So that IRR rate is materially improving, on the back of that gold price. We know we're going to get better leaching rates, as evidenced at Silver One up in Nevada. So again, that's going to compound that IRR rate. And then, of course, as I just said, there's the additional cost sides of this in terms of the lower costs. So we think we're going to get some extremely attractive IRR numbers out of the next few work streams, which we're due to undertake. And, now we're funded for them. We have the work programs in place, and we're really looking forward to getting to work on those very shortly.
Good. I don't know if you can talk about what investors can expect in terms of sort of timing. So phase 3, is it phase 3, I think, of 4 phases, and that is with extract there. So that's going on with them, but I guess you'll have a little bit of an understanding on the timing of that. But what you do have control of is, of course, your auger program, which I think you want to end finishing that with a bit of a resource estimate. So when you're looking to get on the ground and do these things?
Yeah, we're looking to get out on the ground almost immediately. So the teams are mobilising to get to site at the moment. So we're kind of preparing for that. So, investors can expect an announcement in the short term on that. Obviously, that auger drilling will feed into the resource estimates and the phase 3 work, which is around the recoveries, the leaching and the dewatering and the filtration. That's all going to feed into this work that's going to deliver us an MRE. And then we'll move straight into the phase 4, which is where we move from a high-level concept to a concept which is a lot more, it makes use of all the information. So we become a lot more advanced and pretty much get to the point of construction at Teck-Hughes. So now, Mark, we're in development mode. There's a significant potential to unlock a lot of value, not just on our own assets, but through collaboration. Like I said, Metals One, a new significant shareholder, and the opportunities there with extracts and the application of their technology. And of course, on the enormous untapped potential, we've got 2 of over 70 sites in our MLA exclusivity area. And as I say, those 2 sites are around 700 million US dollars worth of gold. There's huge upside here. So we're really looking to, get to work on these things and, post this fundraise. We're still a microcap, and we need to reduce that value gap from where we think we should be to where we are now. And we think that these work streams are really going to help us deliver that.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ryan. I'm looking forward to following those developments when you do get on the ground and start doing some of that work. But for now, thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely, Mark, and talk to you again real soon.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.